On Assetto Corsa Competizione, and we're back for another round of season number 6. Of course, a week ago saw us take to Spa for round number 1 of the championship, and we cross our way into Germany here for the Nürburgring. Of course, we're not insane. We're not going around the full Nordschleife circuit. We're just here at the GP loop. At the moment, we're into our 15 minutes of qualifying before we head over into 40 minutes of racing action. Myself, Zach Sweeney, Kelsey Gill, alongside me in the commentary booth with Kieran Sharp pushing the buttons behind the scenes, making the broadcast look lovely and pretty for you guys at home. Kelsey, a week ago in Spa saw a very entertaining race, it must be said, and a really good precedent, I think, for the season ahead.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, last week in Spa. Hello, everybody, by the way. Hello, Phil, across the pond in the chat. Nice to have you in. But yeah, last week, Spa, it was the start of the championship, first race, and we saw Bailey Thompson lead the way in qualifying, and then he got jumped at the start. Had a little bit of a tussle with Sharon and the others toward the front as well. Got himself into the lead, checked out. That was his evening done. Then there was a bit of a battle among the AM contingent as well for the lead. There's a bit of a rivalry going on between the two Italian teams in amongst the field as well. There's a lot going on, Zach, and we come here to the Nürburgring, a circuit that demands absolute perfection. You have to be concentrating as hard as you can. It's tight, it's twisty. There's lots of technical elements on this track. Mistakes are going to snowball. It's going to be a tough one, but it's going to be a good race. The Germans definitely know how to make a great racetrack.
They do, absolutely. Because, well, we've got the Hockenheimring, we've got obviously the Nürburgring as well. So, yeah, Germany, they do all right. They do all right by my standards. Welcome, of course, to Handsome Stew as well in the YouTube chat. Of course, the weekly entertainment alongside, I'm sure. Actually, no, is Andrew Pike here? I'm not entirely sure if Andrew Pike will be here. He's off karting, off our weekly segment of the Factons, of course, bridged off from Matt Acton, who used to be a part of the grid to take some very, very nice photos over on his Instagram page. But it's the running joke, of course. You know, we have our good old Matt Factons. And the one we got today was that Andrew Pike is away karting as opposed to Matt Acton, who is not. So unfortunately, we won't be having Mr. Fish in the YouTube chat, which is a little bit sad. So Stu is all by himself, unfortunately. I mean, you've got Phil. I'm sure Phil will keep you company. But anyway, into qualifying around the Nürburgring, it's an interesting circuit when it comes to overtaking, because you've either got 100 or you've got 0, especially in my own personal experience. It's sort of at the Nürburgring, on paper, you've got turn number 1, a downhill braking zone that's cambered on the inside. Surely that should be a good overtaking opportunity. You've then obviously got the Dunlop hairpin, which in theory, again, could be a good overtaking opportunity. But a couple of corners around here, Kelsey, that don't really lend themselves too well to be able to make sort of move stick. And the circuit in general, there's not a copious amount of runoff areas either to use at your pleasure. So you have to really think methodically about how you're going to get moves done, and sometimes that is a little bit tricky. So maybe track position going to be a bit more important around here.
Yeah, track position is going to be very important around it, Zach. I think it's, look at the track that you've got here. We're watching Stuart Prime make his way around. All of the runoff here, you're met with grass or you're met with a gravel trap. There's no in between. It's not like France, Le Castellet, where it's all concrete runoff and a few gravel traps littered around here and there. It's dangerous. If you go off just a little bit, you're going to get snagged, perhaps dragged into the gravel, dragged into the grass, lock up a break or two perhaps as well, going into corners like turn 1 as we watch a car go through there. It's going to be a tricky one, and it's going to be one where you're going to need to get perfect. I said before, flow is very important around this circuit. It's going to be the drivers that can get into that flow state, that can drive as perfectly as possible. They're the ones who are going to benefit. They're the ones who are going to be the fast guys in qualifying. They're going to be fast in the race as well. And if you can be that, you can make the overtakes. You've got to be brazen at the Nürburgring, Zach. You've got to be bold to make those moves. And I'm expecting to see a few tonight, if any.
Yes, because obviously we had some very interesting overtakes sometimes at Spa. And I'm sure, again, it should be no different here today either. Very much looking forward, of course, to seeing how these guys get on at the Nürburgring. Again, it's a circuit that we have returned to multiple times. I think the second ever round was here at the Nürburgring. We also came here last season as well, if memory serves me correctly. So we've been here a couple of times. We've had a couple of fun races around one of the most prestigious and famous tracks in the world, albeit the smaller Grand Prix loop as opposed to the full-on Nordschleife. But following along with Elias Troy. As you can see, the first set of lap times being shown onto the onto the timing tower. You can see Bailey Thompson and Yuval Sharon leading the way, 1 and 2. Of course, that is how we ended things off in Spa. Of course, it was Bailey Thompson, Yuval Sharon, and Francesco Cesali that were 1, 2, and 3 a week ago for those that missed it, which of course naturally sees Bailey Thompson leading the way in the Drivers' Championships, at least of course in the pros. You move away over into the AMs, and we've got obviously Philippe, Mav Gardner, and Manuel Leparati that are the top 3 in the AM standings over the course of the Spa race. So plenty of action, I'm sure, to indulge into over the course of the next 9 minutes, and then obviously the 40 minutes of racing action that we have got. Plenty of sort of intrigue that is on the table, especially with it being such a short championship, Kelsey, because only 6 weeks, 7 races, not that many opportunities to make points up, especially, well, when you think about it, each race accounts for, give or take, say just under 20% of the total points all of the season, which means that you've really got to be on it from round 1 and make those points up quick.
Yeah, you do. That's the thing with having such a short season, isn't it? You've got to really just try and maximize every result you can, try and finish up as high as possible, and just really maximize those points. And you've got your drop round as well. That might save you if you've got a horrible week that just in that 1 week, I suppose. Let's say you finish way down the points, you'll drop that round, and we'll pretend like it never happened. But you've got to really try and get everything you can out of every single race, whether it be the sprint round, which we'll have in a couple of weeks' time, or a round like it is today, just a normal 40-minute race with this qualifying session. And it's, again, the drivers who can be consistent and be up the top as well. I think Bailey Thompson is going to be the guy everybody's chasing. Everyone's going to be going after him. He's 6 tenths ahead in this qualifying session so far. Doesn't look like anyone's touching him. That's not going to be the way to do it. Sharon, as he makes his way through the last few corners, really using all of the curb possible in the 31 Ferrari. But yes, it's going to be about maximizing everything, doing your best out there on the track, and just giving it all. Yeah.
I love the, just giving it his all. Yes, whatever. He just does what he does. It's
buy my book.
Buy your book. Oh yeah, the Kelsey Gill's Guide to Sim Racing. The Gill's Guide to Sim Racing. I love that. There's more G's in there, surely. The Gill's Guide.
The Gill's Glorious Guide to Grand Prix Racing. There you go.
Gill's Glorious Guide to Grand Prix. The Gill's Glorious Grand Guide to Grand Prix Racing. Yeah, we'll go with that. It's whatever. Sure, we'll find. Yeah, the all the G's Anyway, right, yeah, whatever. Cool. Only on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel. I don't know what we get up to in these commentaries sometimes, Kelsey. Honestly, because I have to remind myself that I'm a professional. Like, I'm getting paid to do this. So I have to, actually act like I'm talking, like I know what I'm talking about sometimes. And then I'm here just trying to come up with as many G names as possible for your fake sim racing book. Well, it might not be fake. Who knows? If anyone knows any publishers, by all means, get them in. We'll sort it out. We'll get the Gill's Glorious Grand Guide to Grand Prix Racing, or whatever we ended up calling it. I don't know. Anyway, De Oor running his way through the circuit at the moment. Only 2 seconds off pole position, but when you think about it, look at how close that midfield fight is. Really, from Sharon backwards, you've only got a swing of a couple of tenths, if that, per every couple of positions. So not really that much in it at all. Bailey Thompson, however, his pace is scary, Kelsey.
Oh yeah, it's something that the drivers will be very aware of. I mean, Sharon's just gone that little bit faster, but he's still 0.4 of a second ahead. Now that's a lot of time as far as racing is concerned. It may not look it on paper, but that's, well, I don't know. I want to say maybe like 10 car lengths perhaps of time out there on the track. If I'm being generous, perhaps. I don't know. I can't quite imagine it in my head, but it's a lot of time to ship around here in a circuit where we've said already it's going to be tough to overtake. There's going to be lots of chances. Look how narrow this circuit is actually from all the off-board shots. We might see it later on when we get some more on-board shots during the races, but just with how twisty and everything is, you've really got to be maximizing these positions. And I think, if Bailey Thompson doesn't get jumped off the start like he did in Spa, then he's just going to sail away because he just looks the more consistent out of everybody so far.
Yes, I don't know what he has for breakfast. I would like to find out. He might be Weetabix. It might be protein-infused Weetabix. That's probably a thing. Maybe he just has porridge, Cocoa Pops, Rice Krispies. I don't know. Maybe, you know what? He seems like a Frosties type of guy. That's what I'm going with. I reckon Bailey Thompson eats Frosties. And not cornflakes coated with sugar. No, like actual Frosties, like actual Frosties. Anyway, that's just my hypothesis. You're more than welcome to, give your 2 pennies worth in the YouTube chat. Handsome Stu's going with eggs and steak, maybe green eggs and ham potentially as well. Get some good protein in for Bailey Thompson. Whatever tickles his fancy, honestly. All I care about is how quick he is on a racetrack, and at the moment it's making our life a little bit boring in terms of the runaway wins. I mean, we're only 1 round in, of course, and we're only we're towards the tail end of this qualifying session, so not too much that we can read into as of yet. But he's leading the way by 0.4 of a second, which is a fairly sizable gap, one that in theory could be quite difficult to close down. But you're right, I think, Kelsey, the most important thing, the most important thing there for Thompson is to not get jumped off the start. And, on the contrary to that, the most important thing for Sharon and Cecily is to get him off the start. Otherwise, Thompson's going to be in control.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a fight going on behind Thompson there. You've got Cecily, you've got Zancini, and I think, was it Zancini? I can't remember. I'll have to look back at the guides. But and then there was Sharon there up as well, all fighting over those last sort of 4 places in the top 4, because they've all sort of checked out around this circuit, Zach. Unless anybody's got an absolutely blistering lap in the next few minutes or so, I don't think anybody's going to be touching the time of Bailey Thompson at the top. Phil across the pond reckons he eats 3 shredded wheats. What, the big ones, or is that the little ones?
Packets or individual shredded wheats? Then again, they are knitted by grannies, which means he is sort of eating cereal infused with love. Maybe it is the power of love that's driving him forward. Maybe he doesn't need high octane fuel. Maybe he just needs a warm hug from his grandma. Maybe that's why he hits the apexes so well, because you hug it like your favorite grandma. That's what he's doing. He's imagining the apex as a bit of shredded wheat. I don't know. I honestly, yeah, again, going back to the professional comment, we know what we're talking about. We promise. You are only getting the most top quality broadcasts here on JP Broadcasting, and of course those over on the Sim Racing Collective YouTube channel as well. So make sure if you are watching on either channel to go and subscribe to the other one, and obviously the one you're also currently on as well. Marie Striker in 6th place at the moment, always fielding that gorgeous striking Honda NSX livery. Of course, he moved over into, what was he in last season? Was it the Ferrari? I think he might have moved over into the Ferrari over the course of last season. Now, of course, he's back in his beloved Honda NSX, and at the moment up in 6th place. Not a million miles away from Degani, though, for 5th place, as James Wright, a little bit further down, would like to find his way up a couple more places. But look at the overlap that we've got. You know, a decent chunk of the AM drivers are overlapping with some of the pro drivers, which just goes to show the level of talent that is in both categories.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of quick guys in both. Well, I mean, they're all great drivers out there in their own right, I suppose. But there's a lot of, AM drivers that are kind of teetering on the edge of becoming pros, perhaps. And then there's some pros who are perhaps sort of top of the AMs, or maybe just falling a little bit down there. I'm interested. I think Samuel Chumley, I don't know if he's out on the grid this evening, but he's doing some strange stuff at the back, if he is again, because he was doing it last race as well, along with, is it Dominic Aligna that joined him back there as well? Those two were fighting their way through the field, and I think they're doing it again. I don't think they're all that interested in fighting for the championship this season, Zach. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Maybe they just forgot to qualify. I don't know what their sort of motives were, but I do know they actually managed to score some decent points. Obviously, Samuel Chumley was up into 14th. Dominic Aligna, fair enough, only 18th. But considering they started from the overall back of the grid, which is quite a little bit far down. What did we? I think we had upwards of 40 cars last week, and to be fair, we're doing the same thing now with 38, I believe, in total. Yeah, 38 in total. So. Yeah, of course, maybe they're just out here to have a little bit of fun, which again, can you blame them? Really, can you blame them? Of course, Dominic Ligner is the reigning champion. He just wants to have a little bit of fun. I think Jamie Nuttall as well, going into the Lexus, the reigning champion, the following season, has sort of just like had a bit of a laugh. Of course, Smogy went for his 2 back-to-back championships, then had a bit of a tail off for the last couple of seasons. But Jamie Nuttall taking the challenge and going to the Lexus after his championship win. Now, obviously, Dominic Ligner doing a similar thing in terms of his sort of first to last challenges and things like that. Maybe he's just happy, content with that single championship, and would rather go out here and have some fun.
Yeah, perhaps that's the only way I can think of it. We've reached the end of qualifying. Here's Thomas Rovik coming down the line, gets himself in to P15. It is not there for long as Ryan Blanchette, I believe, knocks him down. And then there's Quinten van Wingerden in the Porsche. Where can he get his car? Last couple of corners to navigate. You've got to really attack that chicane and then into the Coca-Cola curve for the final time. Let's see what the 508 car can place himself. Runs all the way down to the line. Can he get into the top 10 in the 508? He can.
Nicely done. And takes himself inside the top 10. But after 15 minutes of qualifying, it's Bailey Thompson that takes pole once again, with Yuval Sharon will be joining him on the front row. 4 tenths back though in qualifying means he is going to need a good start to seize control. Francesco Cesali and Sanchi 3 and 4, with Degani and Striker rounding off row 3. Then comes to Orr and Graham Kerr 7th and 8th, with Quinten van Wingerden and James Wright rounding off the top 10. Then comes Elias Troyer and of course Leparati taking the AM pole and 12th overall. Sharon takes 13th as well as second. Of course, we've got 2 Chirons out there on the grid. We've got Yotam and Yuval, so it's Yotam down in 13th place, and then of course we've got Murtagh, Blanchette rounding up the top 15 I should say, and then Roivik, Philippe, Martini, Hewlett, Pryor the top 20. Then comes Mav Gardner and Chiala, McGowan's and Pieri, Borrielli, Violato, Cisco, Miller, and then we go to Tomasi, Atucha, Giardi, Passanisi, Baukamp, Brown, Gameo, Chumley, Aligna and Hess round off the 38 car grid that we've got. A bit of a mouthful towards the end, as there are just so many cars to quickly flick our way through. But a big grid and hopefully big fireworks over the course of the next 40 minutes.
Yeah, let's just hope not too many big moments of utter carnage. So 38 cars going around this very tight and twisty Nürburgring. That could end in a bit of drama in these opening laps, but we'll wait and see. It was all a bit... There was a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Calamity in Belgium, but we'll put that behind us. We'll go again. I'm sure that they've had a stern talking to in their drivers' briefings after any incidents. and such. And I should actually say that there was a couple of qualifying bans during that time. Marcel Hess and Patrizio Gemello have had themselves qualifying bans, so that's why they're as far down the order as they are. But that's all of the news from qualifying. But it should be a decent little race here, Zach. I think we'll be watching keenly. I think if anybody can jump Bailey Thompson and perhaps give him a bit of trouble off the line, we'll be watching that battle in the AMs again, because I actually think this could be one of the closer AM fights that we've had for the last couple of seasons, I think.
I think so as well. Yeah, the AM fight is always an interesting one. Of course, a couple of seasons ago when we had, I believe it was Elias Troy that eventually got him, that was at some point in the AMs and eventually got himself into the pros, was the one that was running away with things a little bit. But obviously has since, taking that step up into the pros. I think he might have been silver when we had the 3 categories as opposed to the 2. Handsome Stu, calm it down. All right. I'm from Norfolk, so I also relate to that. That's not just an American thing. All right, we're all good. But anyway, yeah, we're about to start ourselves on the formation lap. Of course, we've what we've got 38 divided by 2 is 19 rows of cars. Quick maths, something they can't do in America. I'm joking. Anyway, I'm just trying to throw some shade. We're all good. We're all good. It's just a joke. And we are in Germany, so we've got to compensate for the lack of humour somehow as well. So we just got to throw it all out there. Just get our systems clean, and Rhea Raccoon is very much regretting her decision to become a regular member of the JP Broadcasting YouTube chat. I thought, Nobby, you had webbed toes. Yeah, we have webbed toes, but we also have 6 of them on each foot. So double whammy, mate. We've got. I was going to say quality and quantity, but it is just quantity, I should say. There's a lot of us and plenty of limbs. Anyway, onto the formation up, because we will showcase something relevant, obviously, to the championship itself. Bailey Thompson leading the grid around in his McLaren 720S. How important is this formation up, Kelsey? Of course, there goes the cones. Obviously, to prepare mentally, physically. What is going through these drivers' heads right now?
Well, if you didn't want those cones there, then the formation lap's a good opportunity to get rid of them. But besides the cone destruction out on the track, it's a good time to get yourself ready. It's to sort of calm down from qualifying and get yourself in that headspace. Get the car ready, tyres warmed up, and the brakes as well. Just every little bit of the car ready, and yourself ready to slowing down from qualifying. Remembering it's now a race. You've got 40 minutes or so of racing to go through. Well, it is 40 minutes, but I was just trying to think of the laps. But I can't quite think of them off the top of my head, but I'll stop rambling on about that.
Slow day for us.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's time to get prepared, get ready, shake off that qualifying stance and get ready for a race and get ready to go wheel to wheel and try and not make any mistakes, and remember that consistency that you need around a track like the Nürburgring. It is one that is going to require absolute precision if you're going to be successful, and those drivers that can do that are going to be the ones who will succeed here tonight.
And who do you think are going to be the drivers that succeed? Obviously, you named the ingredients, but who do you think is the driver that, has been able to master that recipe?
Let's see. Bailey Thompson is going to be the obvious choice. It's like watching a Formula 1 race and not expecting Max Verstappen to win at the moment. So Bailey, he'll go. I mean, Sharon looks racy. Zanchi and Casali are racy as well. Those 3, they might try and get him like they did in Belgium. So keep your eye on that top 4. I think that'll be good. But I think Bailey Thompson's the one with the advantage here. And speaking about the AMs, you know what? I liked the way Philippe looked in that BMW last week. So keep an eye on the 96 car.
Awesome stuff. Well, we're about to get ourselves underway here at the Nürburgring. Bailey Thompson, Yuval, Sharon 1 and 2 with Sanchi and Cecily in behind. They line themselves up 2 by 2, Noah's Ark 19 rows deep before we embark on a 40-minute journey around one of the most famous circuits in the world. We're here at the Nürburgring for round number 2 of the TSRC PC GT3 Series, season number 6, here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. What a race we're in store for, and we await Thompson to put his foot to the floor and the green flag to wave. 40 minutes on the clock, and we are go here in Germany. Bailey Thompson, a good launch initially. He's got that inside line, which gives him the defensive line going into the first corner at turn number 1. Zanchi as well, looking very menacing in that Porsche, looking to go to the inside, close to contact between himself and Yuval Sharon, as Sharon tries to go the long way round. Multiple cars going side by side as well, nearly 3 rows of 2, I believe, going into turn number 1. Around the outside, though, goes the Swissman of Bruno Zanchi. He's kept his foot in the agility of that Porsche, really lending itself quite well to the twists and turns of the Nürburgring, and Sharon tries to fight it back to the inside, but the more they fight, the bigger the gap that Bailey Thompson is going to build in the early moments.
Yeah, it's very clever car positioning there from Thompson, I think, in that first couple of corners. As we continue to watch Zanchi and Sharon going for it, I think this move is finally going to be done for the Porsche. Is the Ferrari going to cut underneath, though, as they come through this next twisty part of the track? Not quite. He's going to have to look behind him as well. There was a Mercedes. I think that's Degani's car trying to find a way through as he's jumped Casali in the other Ferrari. But, yeah, Thompson positioned his car well, made that McLaren as wide as he possibly could, and finds himself with a fairly significant gap as the Porsche has been trying to muscle his way in.
He has been. He's trying to find the gap, of course. A little bit further down, we've got Stuart Pryor in 27th place, just trying to bit by bit pick his way through. Of course, those in the YouTube chat, do not be shy to share your thoughts, feelings, queries, questions, whatever tickles your fancy, of course, across both YouTube chats. Keep us entertained. Of course, the racing is going to do that, but you know, as you can clearly see, we are not scared of banter. We're not scared of having a bit of a laugh and a joke, and well, neither of these guys scared of sending moves around the outside. There is a race on, funnily enough, Handsome Stu. Yeah, Samuel Chumley, by the way. Hang on, he's in the top 20. Where's this guy come from? Fair enough. All right, cool. He's made some good progress in that 111 machine, and trying to make his way up into 18th place. Samuel Chumley sending the move, brilliantly done. Of course, Sampieri giving him a bit of space, not a lot. Chumley fills every little inch that he's been given, and up into 18th place. Very respectable charge so early on.
Yeah, I mean, Samuel Chumley, a veteran in that McLaren, he knows how to wrangle that car around a racetrack, and he's showing it there tonight. That looks like Degani making up a place. On Sharon, he's got himself into P3 now. He'll be charging after Zanchi, so that Mercedes looking quite racy out there as well. 2 very nice liveries actually on the Mercedes and the Ferrari, the yellow and the black and the red as well. I quite like that actually, but it's P3 for Degani. It's 1.6 seconds lead for Bailey Thompson, who's currently just checked out already. It's only been 1 lap, Zach.
Only 1 lap, and yeah, well, he is in the distance. Also in the gravel is one of the McLarens. I think that might be Ivan Tomasi potentially. We also had Joachim Sharon falling down a couple of places. I think he only was able to start 13th. Is now down to 28th, trying to move his way back past potentially Bauerkamp, going to the right hand side as the very wasp-looking S car of the black and yellow picks his way up into 27th place. Very nicely done, and ahead, of course, the Flying Dutchman of Bauerkamp. Good start, of course, initially for Joachim Sharon. Same too for reigning champion Dominic Ligner in his Lamborghini Huracan Evo 2. Up now, fighting with Atucha for 21st place overall. What is a little bit of a shame, of course, is Bailey Thompson running away with things out in front because, yeah, he is just quick. Of course, we can't discredit him for that at all. Through the kink, though, bit of contact between the 2 cars as Atucha is sent wide. Dominic Ligner picks his way up into 20th place and into the NGK chicane for the for the second time, I believe, going into lap number 3. And Dominic Ligner is able to stay ahead and, of course, pick his way up. And I think each position for him is just going to have to be a stepping stone to the next. He's just got to take him as they come and pick his way through the carnage as effectively as he can. Marco Violetto has found the barrier very, very early on.
Yeah, there's that Ferrari, looks an absolute mess. Look at the front of it. I don't know if he's going to be able to continue in that car. That's going to be a shame for him. Here's Ivan Tomasi trying to make up a position. I think that's on Bauerkamp. They're going to go side by side down in towards turn 1. Very deep from the McLaren. Finds the gravel trap, and that's not the way around, nor is that the racetrack. So he'll have to try and rethink that one for the next time. How about Ohar? He's battling away with Elias Troy in the Porsche. Oh, a little bit of contact. He tries to close the door, give the Porsche the squeeze, but Troy has none of it. He says, thank you very much. That's my position now. And puts him into the clutches of Kerr now. And the other Ferrari is the meat in a Ferrari sandwich is Ohar. And I think the only Audi out on the grid. As he gets a very good run on a large Troy. They're going to go side by side once again. And the Audi straight back through. But Troy's going to come through. They're coming up the S's now. It's free wide as they exit. This could be calamitous. Is there going to be any contact? There is a little bit as the Audi tries to rejoin the racing line. This is great racing between the lot of them. Look how many cars are squabbling array behind this Audi. There's about 5 of them. They were 2x2 line astern as they went through those few corners.
Yeah. Indeed so, very much a chaotic turn of events between these 3 drivers, but absolutely perfect precision between all of them. As Neil Thompson, handsome Stu is definitely going to twist those words. As much as we know you're in support, Stu, behave. Graham Kerr in 9th place, trying to send the move to the inside of the Porsche. Beautifully done. Elias Troy sees it coming though and keeps his foot around the outside. You've then got Wright, of course, trying to then stick his nose in and not find a way through. A brilliant exit though from Graham Kerr, sees him side by side with the green monster of the Porsche that is Elias Troy. Now you've got, of course, James Wright making it potentially 3 wide down the hill into the braking zone of turn number 1. Graham Kerr up into 8th place, brakes late, but he keeps it covered.
Yeah, he does, fighting very well in amongst this pack of cars. Troy have been the big loser on that particular lap. He's dropped a couple places. Ohar has already checked out of this battle. He's 1.2 seconds up the road. Troy now has to fight amongst all of the others as well. And what this has done, Zach, is this has made quite the train of cars, actually. A lot of them fighting have brought a ton of other cars in. I want to say there's about 8 cars all chasing after each other in this little pack here. So there could be some great little fights going on. And actually, for a track that is going to be difficult to overtake, the drivers aren't being put off by that at all.
Nah, they're not being deterred by the lack of overtaking opportunity. And, well, of course, Neil Thompson, Bailey Thompson's father, I'm sure is a very, very proud dad at the moment, seeing the display of action that he's putting on, because he is just quick. Bailey Thompson he's a quick guy, right? There's not really much more that we can say. He's, we can delve into it about him being consistent and always hitting the apex and being quick lap after lap and all of this, that and the other. But bottom line, we can go on all that spiel all we like. He is just quick, and he is the quickest driver out there on the circuit. Jotam Sharon picks his way past ahead of Kiala. Stuart Pryor trying to do a similar thing as well. Stu, yes, we give you so much to work with, but that's not a luxury that you have yourself. So, we're trying to compensate for, your lack of capability in that regard. So, we're trying to feed you stuff, give you the ammunition. Francesco Cesali trying to pick his way up past Yuval Sharon and up into 4th place after Degani has had a very, very good last couple of laps. So we've got the SWIT team. We've got Degani, Sharon, Cesali, 2nd, 3rd, and third, 4th, and 5th. All fighting away with each other on the same bit of tarmac. The Norwegian Thomas Rovik has been sent round though under brakes. Was that Dominic Ligner that gave him a touch?
I don't know. I want to say it was was it the Porsche of Mav Gardner? I think it was. As they came in, he went very, very late. And I think Mav Gardner's got to hold his hands up and say sorry on that occasion, because that was very clumsy from the 805 machine. Went too late in there, got himself caught out, hit the back of Rovik's car and sent him round, as Samuel Chumley making up more places. I think he's just got past Leparati in the 59 Porsche, and he's making incredible progress. He's closing in on the top 10 now, Zach.
He is. Samuel Chumley is just, he's quick. I'll be interested to see who out of him and Dominic Ligner finish higher in the championship. At the moment, I'm just so impressed by this McLaren. I think the McLaren today seems to be a very strong suit for sort of as a manufacturer. But saying that, there's only one McLaren inside the top 10. It's the only... Oh no, it's not the only manufacturer, but you've got, 2 Porsches, you've got 3 Ferraris all making up the top 10. A side-by-side, Maurice Stryker picking his way past ahead of the Italian driver Francesco Cesali. Maurice Stryker ahead before the braking zone and up now inside the top 5. But, yeah, I was about to say the McLaren may be looking like one of the stronger cars, but it's not. Really, it's not. I mean, you look at the patterns. There's one inside the top 10, obviously the one that's leading the way. You've then got 3 inside the top 20. Like, you know, that's not a lot. You know, that's less than 5%. No, hang on. Hang on. There's maths there. Give me a second. There is there's 20. There's less than 20% of the cars inside the top 10 of McLarens. There's maths there somewhere. I've channeled my inner Devon. Marcel Hess has picked his way past up into 34th place. But what I'm trying to say is, Kelsey, the vast majority of cars inside the top positions are not McLarens, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. I got there eventually. So maybe you know, the likes of Chumley and Thompson are just that good.
I mean, like I said, Chumley's got a fair few seasons now under his belt in that McLaren, and I was just thinking as well, it's been a little while now. I think, when was the big update for ACC? Was it 2 seasons ago? We've just sort of, I think we've just got to a point where those cars, that update has been a bit more well worn in now for everybody. So I think he's perhaps got a bit more on that. But this is Martini trying to find his way past. I think is that Dominic Aligna? It is Dominic Aligna in the Lamborghini, and no doing for Martini on this occasion. He's going to sit behind Aligna and try and go again on another lap. But I think, looking at the cars, Zach, I think what the best car you're going to get for this circuit is one that's both nimble and stable at the same time. Oh, that was awful from Martini. He's gone straight into the back of Aligna. Aligna will be fuming in the cockpit of that Lamborghini, as that was a very clumsy incident.
It was, and well, I think he also had a similar issue at Spa. I think where he came to blows with someone and fell back a couple of places. Taking another look at it, you can see the Ferrari in the background. Ooh, that is grim. That is absolutely grim. It almost looks intentional. I know it's probably not, but it almost does. So Dominic Ligner not going to be a very happy bunny in the cockpit of that Barwell Motorsport. Oh my goodness me, I want to call it a McLaren. Don't even know what I was going on with there. It's a Lamborghini. Honestly, guys, I need to go to Specsavers. I need to go back to mascot Rishi Sunak saying that maths should be done until year 18. Probably going to end up in agree with that at the rate that my math skills are going down the drain as the more the closer I get to being a full-time commentator, the worse my maths gets. That is just one of the items on the job description, is you are bad at maths. And so I've got maths, and I need to go back to Specsavers to realise that that wasn't a McLaren. It's not even the same. It's not even in the same vein as a McLaren. It's got a completely different engine. It's completely different body shape, completely different manufacturer, completely different country of origin. Anyway, we've got a Ferrari and a Mercedes. The Ferrari of Yuval Sharon running really wide going through the Michael Schumacher S's, and you can see how much time he loses by doing so. Yuval Sharon, it's not been the race of his life, let's put it that way.
No, certainly not. He'd have wanted to try and maybe challenge Bailey Thompson at the front there at the start. And he's lost a few places in the fighting as well, but it's not over yet, Zach. The pit window's just open for the last 3 minutes or so. So strategy, I think, will be very important around here with the nature of the track and it being difficult to overtake and such. So we'll see how that all pans out as well. And I was just looking over the cars. Little fact for you. We have the same amount of Ferraris out on track this season as we did last season. We had 13, which is the most of any one manufacturer, and we have the same again, and I think 7 Porsches is the next most popular choice out there of the cars as well. Just sort of looking over that, some little fun facts for you there. I think there's also 7 McLarens spread around the grid as well, if I'm counting correctly. 6 McLarens, but there you go, there's some numbers for you.
Fun facts with Kelsey Gill. What can we call that? I don't know, there's not a lot of alliteration to really work with there. The Glorious Gags with Kelsey Gill, let's go with that. Gill's Glorious Gags, boom. That sounds like that's the title for the wrong website. Anyway, Samuel Chumley inside the top 10 after a couple of pit stops going his way. Of course, as you can see in the top middle of your screen, the pit window being open now for 15.5 minutes left to go. They have to come in, they have to top up their fuel. They can take tyres if they wish, so it's not necessarily mandatory. and of course do that within the next sort of 7 or so laps before the pit window once again closes. So make sure to keep an eye on your favourite drivers. You can check up as to whether or not they've come into the pit lane by that little, well, if there is a green box next to their number, that means they've ticked off their mandatory stop. If they're still an orange with a 1 in it, that means they've still got 1 mandatory pit stop left to make. Sounds pretty self-explanatory, right? So there you go. That's what that means. And Dominic Liga, Mav Gardner, the only 2 so far to have ticked off the mandatory pit stop sheet inside the top 23. Still waiting for the likes of D'Or and Maurice Stryker to come in also. Maurice Stryker trying to put on a little bit of pressure onto the back of D'Or and move his way inside the top 5. No way through for now as he decides, I think very cleverly, to come into the pits.
Yeah, that might be a good idea from Stryker. He's fighting in amongst all of that as well, and he might be able to jump some cars as they continue to fight along as well. I was just been looking at the fastest laps of the race so far. So the 3 fastest laps that I can see are from your top 3 drivers. It's it's Alexei Degani with a 53.9. There's a 53.7 for Yuval Sharon, and then we've got a 53.4 from Bailey Thompson, who's a good 0.3 quicker or so than his next opponent, which is Sharon, who's currently sat in P4. It just shows how much quicker Bailey is, especially with this clean air. I think he's 5.5 seconds ahead already. It's a tremendous gap for this early part, and I think, you know, this is his race to lose now. If he makes any silly mistakes and goes round, then, well, that's just on him, I suppose. It's because it's just him out there on his own in the front. This is another practice session for him.
It is, yeah. He's just going out there and just chilling. I'm sure Neil Thompson is going to be absolutely delighted to see his son doing really well. Of course, putting the lap times in, and again, as I say, just he's the quickest driver. Everyone else needs to get better if they want to win races and to win this championship. I'd say this one is probably I know it's early doors still, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bailey Thompson wins every single race of the season. Bar any mistakes or disconnects or anything like that, he has got the raw pace potential to win every single race so far this season. Again, a lot of things are subject to luck, as I say, with faulty hardware or missing around, attendance, getting sick, anything like that could happen. But also sort of we maybe could see a crack in the defense of Bailey Thompson. Maybe at some point he will make a mistake that opens the door for the drivers behind in order to step themselves up onto the top step of the podium. But honestly, in a few weeks' time, when we look back on the championship, if Bailey Thompson wins, I wouldn't be surprised if he does it in an exceptionally dominant fashion. Samuel Chumley trying to carve his way through the fielders on the back of Quinten van Wingerden for 8th place now. This is the 111. Pulling up to the right-hand side as he's only a couple of seconds off of big gaggle of cars in front. The BMW blocking the apex allows Van Wingerden to go the long way round, but Chumley on that shorter run hitting a nice tight apex, keeps his footing on the outside, trying to use the agility of that 720S to thread the needle through the middle now as the BMW on their right allows them through, and the outside for the 111 machine sees him take 8th place. Beautifully done, and well, exactly what the McLaren would have wanted.
Take a bow, Samuel Chumley. What a lovely sequence of corners that was for the 111 McLaren. Threads the needle, goes around the outside, just absolutely sends it. He was not phased at all. He's loving his life out there on the racetrack at the moment. That was phenomenal.
It was all right, I guess. Yeah, it's just whatever. Yeah, it's my Kelsey Gill impression I've been practicing. Anyway, Graham Kerr in 6th place. He's got of course, the all right ahead of him, who has been falling back a little bit. Also, by the way, I have just run the numbers. The whole 3 McLarens inside the top 20 thing, I was right. It is just under 20% because it's 15%. 3 divided by 20, 0.15. And that makes sense because 1/20th is 5%. Times it by 3 is 15%. Anyway, now that I've sort of proved myself right and I can die happy, we have got some drivers who might not be too content with leaving this state of consciousness at the moment because, well, they're out on track, they're wanting to win races, and a spontaneous death probably wouldn't lead to very many points because priorities. Graham Kerr into the pit lane, pulling the undercut. Again, I think that seems to be the general consensus. As soon as you get caught up behind a driver, rather than duking out on track, a lot of drivers deciding it's the better option to come in and get the job done on an aggregate time.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth sitting there behind in the dirty air, being slowed down by another driver just trying to overtake when it's not really going to happen, is it? It's better to come in, take that pit stop now, get it done and out of the way early on, and then try and come out into a nice bit of clean air, perhaps. Hopefully, I mean, with the 40 cars we have on the 38 cars we have on the grid, even, you know, getting clear air might be a little easier said than done. But if you can get out in some nice clean air, jump some cars who are coming in after you've come in, I suppose, and then you can maybe try and jump your rivals as they're coming out of the pits. That's what I think a lot of the drivers are going to be trying to do there. That's what Ohar's going to be keeping his eye on, as I think it was who came in just now. I've lost it. It's you, Zach, putting me off of all these numbers. I'm so confused. But here comes Sharon trying to make a move around the outside of the Mercedes. Can he get it done through this section of the circuit? Runs off a little bit wide as the two of them continue to scrap through. But it's no job done for Sharon. He's going to continue to look at the back of that Mercedes.
He is for now, of course, the two teammates for... Well, I want to call it SWIT, but I don't know if that's right because it's all in all caps, which sort of implies that it is an acronym. So the SWIT racing team is what we're going to go with. And don't blame me, as both of them come into the pit lane, both Degani and Sharon, both going to be fighting out for the podium place. Quinten van Wingeren fighting away with Leparati, the two Porsches going side by side. I do love saying Leparati. I don't know why. It's just a very satisfying name to say. He's going to be very satisfied with that move ahead of Van Wingeren and up into 17th place, demoting the Dutchman down a place and promoting himself up into 17th place overall. Of course, not going to be helping his points gain to anyone in the AMS because it's not one continuous score sheet. It's separate. Pros have their score sheet from first down to whatever it is, and then of course the AMS also have their first down to whatever. It's not an overall basis, so you're not scoring points where you sort of finish overall. Also, Van Wingeren isn't scoring points for 18th. He's scoring place for what is that going to be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 13th in the pros, or whatever it works out to be. However many AMs are inside the top 18, essentially. Minus that, then obviously from his overall position. Anyway, Kelsey, don't be blaming me for the fact that you can't concentrate. It's not my fault. All right. It's just, just so rude. Honestly, I got him involved with the TSRC. Got him involved at JB Broadcasting. He's so ungrateful. It's fine. I'll put you on probation. Speaking of, I am on probation. Not at JB Broadcasting, but just where I work, and got to make sure that I'm not breaking stuff. Anyway, I do love my brain. It works in weird and wondrous ways. Same too with Dominic Aligna and his pace, with sort of the ups and downs that's been happening to Dominic Aligna throughout this race. He's had the ascension up to the higher ends of the sort of the top 10, essentially nearly towards sort of the 14th, 15th place, and then has found himself down to 18th after a couple of pit stops funneled themselves out after an earlier spin that, in all fairness, wasn't his fault, but maybe knocked his confidence a little bit. Baukamp, though, interestingly enough, the first and so far only stop-go 30 for speeding.
Yeah, you don't want to get a penalty. That's going to be a big go on there. Speeding in the pit lane, it's a silly mistake to do there. I should take my own advice and not do that when I'm racing for a championship at the moment. But we won't talk about it. We'll focus on the race we've got at hand. It looks like everybody's got themselves into the pits. Adam Brown and in the pits now. I think Hewlett's going to be one of the last drivers to come in. But we got ourselves a few nice little battles going on. I think this is Gemello and Brown. No. Who's that ahead? I think it's a lapped car, perhaps. That looks like Mav Gardner's car, actually. So it's Gardner and Gemello fighting their way through. Is it? No, that's Rovig. It's this timing board, man. It's very hard to keep track of what the cars are doing.
Whatever. I'm just saying, right? Mav Gardner very clearly has a Porsche logo next to him. All right? I'm just saying. If you open your eyes, Kelsey, you might be able to find it. Again, I get angry. I am only taking the mick because I know full well I've done worse. We've all been there. We're commentators, right? We are not professionals. As much as we like to assume the status of professionalism, we're not, all right? We're just your average people having a laugh and talking about some good old pretend race cars, because what else would you want? Commentator beef. Yeah, let's have a scrap. Let's get the gloves on and let's have it.
Pretty sure it's illegal.
Is it?
Well, I mean, of your age, I suppose, yeah, it is.
That is true. Yeah, that is fair enough. Yeah, cool, awesome. But I am mature for my age, so, you know, it's fine. Whatever tickles your fancy, I guess. Anyway, Degani versus Chiron, fighting over what is 5th place at the moment. Zampieri with a stop-go 30 up there in 6th. Means that he might have a little bit of a problem. Well, I say a little bit. He's got a lot of a bit of a problem. He's got a 30-second problem. Same too as Handsome Stu. Hey, Yuval Sharon fighting away with Degani again. Sorry, I cannot help myself sometimes. And the innuendos that come here on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel are borderline sometimes, but we wouldn't want it any other way. Would you rather us be boring? Probably not. Probably, I don't know. It depends whatever tickles your fancy. Anyway, Yuval Sharon on the back of Degani. The two teammates fighting away. They've got to be careful here, Kelsey, to not break the golden rule of sim racing.
Yeah, don't take out your teammate if you are wondering. But these two, they've been stuck together for the last, I want to say the last 5, 6, 7 laps of racing action, and they've been just at it. Sharon's been trying to find a way past Degani. And Degani's been putting up quite a staunch defence as well. I don't know. When does team orders come into effect? There's no team championship to really fight it out for, so they're going to be fighting amongst each other. And speaking of fighting, this is Baukamp getting overtaken by the Ferrari of Borelli for position number 31. But it's a stop-go 30 for Baukamp, so he's not going to be finishing much higher up than he currently is, I think. Or if anything, actually, he'll be finishing further down with that penalty if he doesn't go in to serve it.
Yeah, that is going to be unfair. I don't know, actually. It might manifest itself into a time penalty or a disqualification by the time if he crosses the... I'm not entirely sure if he has to take it. That's stop-go 30.
I think he can take it on at the end of the race. It will be a 30 seconds.
No, but that doesn't make any sense because it's not a 30-second penalty. It's a stop-go 30. The penalty includes the drive-through time. So, not entirely sure there. Zampieri comes in to serve his. So maybe it is a mandatory thing that you do have to do out on track, and you can't just take willy-nilly right at the end of the race and take a time penalty for. It's been a while since I've driven on ACC. So do forgive the sort of slight lack of knowledge in that regard. We'll find out, of course, as time goes on. Thomas Rovik, the Norwegian, under pressure from Patrizio. No, that's not Gamer. Way, there we go. See, done it again. He's not a Porsche, he's a Ferrari driver. The very nice coloured Porsche, by the way. I do like that sort of that metallic, dark, deep purple. Looks very good. Is fighting away with Thomas Rovik. Of course, is as I say, a lapped car. So not really going to be affecting Rovik in any capacity, at least for the foreseeable future, unless it's Mav Gardner. It could well be Mav Gardner who potentially came into the pit lane. Again, not entirely sure because ACC does not like commentators at all. Samuel Chumley, by the way, Kelsey, he's in 6th place.
He's been a rocket ship in that McLaren, and I think he's hunting down Graham Kerr. He is. He's closing in. He's been really putting in the lap times out there. I don't think he's the fastest man out on track. If I go and have a look, it's a 53.6, so he's actually the 2nd fastest driver out there, by the looks of things, as I'm just taking a look over all the lap times. So he's been really going for it, and I think he could he get into the top 5? For sure, he's on the back of Kerr already. Top 4, maybe he's a bit of a reach, considering we've only got about 11 minutes left of this race, closer to the side of 12, I suppose. But yeah, Chumley's been doing really well.
He has been. Honestly, to pick between him and Bailey Thompson for driver of the day is like trying to pick between... it's like trying to pick between... There's a good analogy here somewhere. It's like trying to pick between Handsome Stew and Phil across the pond, right? The difficult choices to make. Obviously, the choice is which one you're going to get rid of. But in the regards of Samuel Chumley versus Bailey Thompson, the regard is, you know, who is the driver of the day. Because they're both driven phenomenally well. Bailey Thompson hasn't looked back since the start of this race. He's been so consistent, but so too has Samuel Chumley. They've had sort of the most opposing races, but also fundamentally the same race because they've been driving well, consistent. The only difference is that Samuel Chumley started at the back and Bailey Thompson started at the front.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's probably going to be the defining characteristic of who gets driver of the day today. But as we talk about this and deliberate these important parts of the race, we still have this fight between Sharon and Degani going on. Sharon was looking very quick through the final chicane there, and the corners leaning up to it as well, and then he sort of dropped off through the Coca-Cola curve and down at the pit straight here, and really has... Are they working together? Are they trying to catch up to Zanchi ahead? I don't know if they've been closing in as the laps have been ticking down, but they don't seem to be fighting as much as they can. Let's try and see when the next tower update is, because I'm interested to see what is going on with these two.
Yeah. See, it would make sense if they're trying to catch Zanchi, of course, being teammates. So, you know, that would make sense, them working their way forward. But are they making that much progress? Is it just a case of the fact that Sharon can't find a way past as opposed to won't? I mean, the gap has grown to Zanchi.
Here it is.
And there is the move. Of course, Yuval Sharon trying to pick his way to the inside of Gagani. He's not quite got the run going into the Schumacher rest, but the opportunity arose. I think that's their intention, clear as day.
Yeah, it is. I think Sharon is back there thinking, come on, man, I'm faster. Let's go through. Let's try and close in, because the gap, they've just lost 0.2 of a second since the last time the tower has updated. And as one of the back markers peels their way to the side, so the two of them can continue their charge through. But yeah, I don't know, they're not making much progress. Maybe swap around again. They've just lost 0.5 now in that next time tower update. So it's, again, they're not really helping each other. Maybe Sharon should try and just get past and try and drag Degani up closer, but with the time now, they're not really going to have all that much time to close that gap of 3.4 seconds. But we keep watching Samuel Chumley as well. A few nice close battles in amongst the top 6 drivers. So we'll be keeping our eyes firmly fixed on that. Can Chumley make any headway as they head down towards turn number 1 on this occasion? Look at that, McLaren's closing speed as he tucks in behind. He's not going to go for a late move, but he definitely gets as close as he dares to the back of that Ferrari as they come through the Mercedes arena.
Yeah, Samuel Chumley, a top 5 would be sensational. Also getting word from Alex that Philippe has gone from 38th to 21st place overall and still inside the top 5 in his class. No, he's in the top. He's in 6th place in his class, but could maybe get Patricio Mayo's into the final 7.5 minutes of this race. But Samuel Chumley, where did he? It was 4th last, I think, at the start of this race, which is 34th place, which is now 28 places gained. He's trying to make it 27 ahead, of course, of Graham Kerr. That would be sensational. Kerr, of course, wants that top 5. It's points on the board. Samuel Chumley, though, what a recovery drive this has been for the driver who continues to impress with every step forward. And of course, as Neil Thompson said earlier, they both do deserve driver of the day. I would not disagree. If we had to, we'd give 2. We don't even have 1, to be fair. We just do it because we can. Anyway, Quinten van Wingerden fighting away with Lars Troy, James Wright, and of course De Oor for 7th place in the pro class as it stands. Quinten van Wingerden had, again, an up and down race in terms of pace, but it seems he's found his foot and, well, at the moment, inside the top 10.
Yeah, he's just sitting there patiently, isn't he? He's watching these guys ahead of him fighting away. This has been a fight that's been going on all race long as well. De Oor and Wright, Troyer, Wingerden, all within touching distance of one another. There's a stray Aston Martin in there as well. I think that's a back marker. So that Aston Martin is not Ohar. Ohar's the Audi that's a little bit ahead. That's Adam Brown getting involved in this. And actually, who's just gone off, I think that was, oh, I can't quite tell, but it was the Lamborghini, I think, that's gone through as Adam Brown sort of got himself in the way. There's the Lamborghini just approaching there. So that's a free place for Troyer. That was James Wright, there you go, who went off the circuit. That was a little bit of carnage going into that final chicane as Adam Brown was just on the racing line. Here comes Sharon again. He's looking to the left, looking to the right, trying to find a way through. That yellow Ferrari just cannot pass this Mercedes, who is making his car as wide as he absolutely can to keep his teammate behind him.
Yeah, indeed so. Brilliant racing going on. 5 minutes, 40 seconds left to go of this race. We're into the final 12.5% of the race. Quick maths, by the way. Final 8th of the race, because 40 minutes, 5 minutes. Boom. I do know maths sometimes. Some people out there, though, don't know racing. So we're just going to tick off another section as we see James, right? He's binned it. And, well, good little bit of lingo here. Binning it means dumping it into the gravel, into the barrier, into the grass, whatever it is. Basically putting the car where it doesn't need to be and staying there for a prolonged period of time. Samuel Chumley as well, trying to move his way up into 5th place. Moving your way up means to gain a position. And, well, finally, obviously, on a more serious note, drivers get awarded penalties for speeding in the pit lane. Of course, the pit lane naturally has a speed limit on it since I think it was the 80s it potentially was implemented just to keep things safer. That reflects into the sim. You've got to slow down, you've got to put the pit limiter on, and you've got to abide by the either 60, 65 or 80 kilometer speed limit here on ACC. And if you don't, you get yourself a stop go 30. What happens in a stop go 30 is you come down the pit lane, you go into your pit box, and you stop for 30 seconds, and then go. So it basically just sort of does it, what it says on the tin. And then, of course, you lose a lot of time by doing that. That's then indicated on the ACC timing graphic on the left-hand side with a capital S, a G, and a 30 to indicate stop, go 30. So there you go. Any more questions, do let us know, obviously, in the YouTube chat. Well, we'll give you the good old Zach and Kelsey School of Automotiveness. There's also, again, probably an acronym that we could make out for that, but we won't. Well, Stuart Pryor trying to move his way up into 22nd place ahead of Jim McGowan, who, again, I love the purple this season. I honestly respect.
Yeah, Zach Sweeney's School of Sim Racing. There you go. I mean, Jim McGowan's had that purple livery for a couple of seasons, and it's been great. If you take a close look, it's got this very sort of cartoonish outline all over it as well, which is really cool. So try and get a close look if you can, but there's a bit of a battle on. It's Jim McGowan, Stuart Pryor and Hess all fighting away. Here's the Porsche of Hess, number 46, going down the inside, brakes as late as he dares, takes that inside line from the Lamborghini, says thank you very much, that's my position now, and you can sit behind me, Mr. Stuart Pryor, in your number 10 Lamborghini.
He can. Stuart Pryor, though, way too late on the brakes, going into turn 3, and did not find himself past and nearly found himself into the back of Hess, which definitely would not have been good news. Yeah, of course, Handsome Stu asking what a clutch is. As myself and Unisapple have said, it's when you clutch up a game, 5v1 on COD or a 5v1 on CS3. Not what is CS3?
I think you mean CSGO.
Maybe it is CSGO.
I don't know.
But where's the 3 come from? You can't. I don't know. Whatever it is. Anyway, yeah, whatever tickles your fancy. It is also a method of transmission on the cars, of course. Disengages the engine from the rest of the drivetrain in order to allow you to change gears safely. Quinten van Wingerden is on the back of Elias Troyer for 8th place, and of course they're going to be wanting to come in clutch in the final 2 minutes of this race. Penultimate lap, of course, here at the Nürburgring. And the Flying Dutchman is trying to fly his way up into 8th place. Does the winner of this end up in the gulag? No, the loser does, and they have to fight Andrew Pike. And if they lose that, then they go into a room with Matt Acton. And I think that is the most suitable punishment for bottling that many chances, especially when you go up again against Andrew Pike. Because those that have watched the earlier seasons of the TSRC know that he wasn't very good. No, I'm joking. He was all right. Anyway, penultimate lap of this race. We haven't really got a fight for the lead. We have got a fight potentially for the podium. And also this fantastic one here as Van Wingerden pulls out to the left-hand side.
Yeah, that must have been what happened to Jack Southfield this week, because he's nowhere to be seen.
Oh my goodness, and last week as well. Was he here last week?
No, he was here last week, I'm pretty sure. We spent a good section of the race, as we always do, giving him a hard time.
17 degrees and it's sunny. It's too hot for him. It'd burn up like a crisp.
But taking a look, I think our leader, Bailey Thompson, has just started the final lap. He's just crossed the start-finish line coming into turn 1. So we are on the final lap of the race now. And, wow, what a race it's been. There's still a fight going on between Degani and Sharon. Can that be sorted out? I think Maurice Striker's at a bit of an off. Here we go. Sharon is going to be the outside. Then he tries to look to the inside, but that Mercedes just plants that car in the middle of the road. Ferrari trying to go under, but he gets on the curb. That slows down his momentum as he tries to cut under his teammate, and that's not going to work. So it's going to continue this very close fight between the two of them. And saying that as well, just looking at the timing boards, you've got Chumley still just behind Kerr as well. Two very close battles going on, and Ligner's finally made his way into the top 10. So another good recovery drive from one of the two drivers who started toward the back of the grid.
Indeed, so we've now got amazing camaraderie in the YouTube chat. Neil Thompson, of course, Bailey Thompson's father, who is leading the way as there's contact between the two teammates. Yuval Sharon goes into the back of Degani, is slowing down to allow his teammate back into contention. Thankfully, they've got a big gap back to Graham Kerr, but, well, not the way they would have wanted to conclude this race. And basically hands the podium back to the teammate of Alexei Degani. We've got Philippe for Volkenhorst Motorsport, the Croatian driver, on the back of Patrizio Gimeo, trying to move his way up another place inside the top 5, of course, in class, and up inside the top 20 overall. The up and under for the BMW, but look here. It's Bailey Thompson. Neil Thompson's son, as he's probably most commonly known, who has been cheering on Samuel Chumley in his pursuit for the top 5, is about to take his second win on the bounce in the TSRC PC GT3 Series season number 6. Bailey Thompson in dominant fashion from pole to flag, victorious at the Nürburgring. The fastest lap as well, and it's Thompson taking the top step. We'll wait a minute for Bruno Sanchi, the Swiss driver, to cross the line. He takes second place ahead of Alexei Degani and Yuval Sharon in second, third and fourth. A brilliant fight between the two teammates ended in disaster, but they'll fly in formation across the line, and it's the Italian driver of Degani that takes third place after 40 minutes of racing. Kelsey, we've got a long time to wait for the rest of the field to cross the line, but all in all, not a bad race.
No, not a bad race at all. De Ohart's fought very well this race as well. He finally crosses the line. Chumley couldn't quite make it into the top 5. Dominic Ligner snuck into P9. I think Van Vingeren might have had a little bit of an off or just got overtaken. But here's your AM leader. It's Manuel Leparati in the number 59 machine. He's going to come across the line to win for the AMs. And it looks like it's going to be the likes of Ryan Blanchett in the McLaren and Mav Gardner in the Porsche as they make their way around the final few corners now to finish off their race as well. That's your podium for the AMs, and it's been a good little race. It's a shame. I was saying Philippe was going to make some ground up. I think he had a bit of an incident, but I think a decent recovery from Philippe. I think he's got himself back into the position he qualified. So P5 from the 96 car of the BMW, who we've not seen until the latter stages of this race.
Yeah, not doing too bad of a job at all. Marcel Hess on home turf is 22nd overall and 7th place in class. Yeah, that works. Quick maths, boom, sorted. And brilliant job again by him. Unfortunately, again, for Dominic Ligner, who is also on home turf, it's not quite been the race that he would have wanted, and he's not even inside the top 30, Dominic Ligner. So, not great. We'll work our way through, of course, the final finishing order of this race. And to no surprise, it was Bailey Thompson that took victory ahead of Bruno Zanchi, the Porsche driver, having a very, very good showing, sort of in no man's land, suspended between P1 and P3. Talking of P3, Alexei Degani takes the win in the teammate battle with Yuval Sharon. Graham Kerr rounds off the top 5. Then comes Samuel Chumley on his ascension to the top from 4th last to 6th. De Oor in 7th for Lars Troyer. Dominic Ligner up in 9th place. Fair enough. That's probably why I couldn't see him inside the top 30s, because he was actually higher than I expected. Dominic Ligner on home turf again, taking a huge step forward. Quinten van Vingeren rounds off the top 10 with James Wright. Mertar Laparati taking the AM win and 13th overall. Marie Striker, Jotum Sharon in P15 with Ryan Blanchett, Mav Gardner, Rorvik, Kiala and Philippe, the top 20. Patrizio Gimeo and Marcel Hess just in behind there, P21 and P22. McGowan, Pryor, Cisco, 25th. Ghiardi, Passanisi, Zampieri, Borrielli and Brown, the top 30 with Hewlett, Martini, Miller, Ceceli, Atusha, Tomasi, Violetto and Baukamp, the 38 driver grid that we had here today. Kelsey, before we wrap up, any final words? And of course, when we look forward to round number 3, which will already be the halfway point of the season, we'll be heading to Imola.
Ooh, Imola, another tight circuit for some great racing action. We've not been there for a couple of seasons, I think. I think that was my first season, first race actually, with the TSRC when we went to Imola last, I believe.
Season 4, round 3, maybe?
I know, I want to say it was season 3, round 3. But I don't know what we could say about that. But well, Bailey Thompson, yeah, very dominant display from him. He's done a great job in both race 1 and race 2. But don't be disheartened.
Wow.
There is still yeah, there's still 5 races left to go. There we go. With your 2 sprint races and then the rest of the races as well. Am I wrong? No, I'm not.
No, you're not. It's
No,
round 3. I'm taken aback a little bit. You've been here too long.
Yeah. Round 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm losing it now. I've lost 5 races. There's 5 races left in this season. Okay.
There is 5.
But yeah, there's still 5 races. There's still plenty of time to get points as well. Get the practice in pros and maybe try and catch up to Bailey, who's doing a very good job as well. We'll have to keep an eye on this AM Championship. It's been very feisty and amongst the midfield as well. There's a lot of drivers to be keeping an eye on, and I think this is going to be one of the championships to remember.
I would be inclined to agree. Yeah, you were correct with 5. You were also correct with the whole you making your debut halfway through season 3. It was just gross how long you've been here. I still see this as a very new arrangement, but it's not. It's actually been happening longer than I was by myself, which I'm not complaining about. It's nice to have the it's nice to have the company. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, do come back next week for the TED Talk. Maths with Zach and Kelsey will come up with a beautiful alliterative name for you all to enjoy. Those at home on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel and, of course, on the Sim Racing Collective YouTube channel. That is unfortunately going to wrap up our coverage here at the Nürburgring, round number 2 of the TSRC PC GT3 Series, season number 6 here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. In a week's time, as we say, we'll be heading over to Italy, 40 kilometers away from San Marino for Imola at the circuit. Enzo Adino Ferrari, we'll go with that. And what a circuit it is. It's going to be tight, it's going to be twisty, and it's going to be a lot of fun to mark the halfway point of this 6-week calendar. My name has been Zach Sweeney. I've had Kelsey Gill alongside me in the commentary booth with Kieran Sharp pushing the buttons behind the scene, making it look all pretty for you guys at home. We are very privileged to have had your company throughout the last hour and a little bit of racing action. It's been amazing fun, and we hope to see you again in a week's time. Same time, of course, 8 p.m. for those in the UK. Translate that to wherever you are around the world, because you are not going to want to miss this championship. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, take care and a very warm goodbye.